All right, guys. Hi. Thanks for joining me. This video is going to be a little longer, but it's going to be worth the wait. You got to hear this. All right. So I'm the guy that on the all the auditing in the auditing community, I've been making tons of comments about qualified immunity and officers that abuse that power. All right, and the constitutional rights that they are abusing and violating when they do that. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you about another way they're violating your rights and getting away with it, and nobody knows about it, or nobody's talking about it, or nobody's addressing it. All right, let me give you, I'll break it down first. It's going to be four parts. Number one, just going to explain real quickly how ClearView works and what it was actually legally intended for. Then I'm going to go over, explain why it's being abused and exactly how it's being abused. Then I'm going to tell you how to beat them. All right. Now, this is important. This is for specifically for auditors, cop watchers, pretty much anyone who's not doing anything illegal, but think their rights have been violated, and I'll get into that. Okay, so ClearView is this. ClearView AI is facial recognition software that agencies right now, roughly, I think it's probably up to about 800 agencies, law enforcement, and even corporate, retail, and corporate are using this. For example, this is the way it was intended to be used. Officers come upon a crime scene. There's 3 people present. There's people dead. The guy's got caught with a gun in his hand, and but he doesn't want to identify. He's never been printed. His prints aren't on file. So they take a picture of him. They submit that picture to ClearView AI. The individual department would say, for example, if it was in retail, it would be, for example, a loss prevention officer. In corporate, it would be a security officer from internal security, for example, corporation security, investigating, say, leaked memos or something, whatever. In the police, it would be they've come across, like I say, a crime scene with an obvious criminal caught red-handed. He doesn't want ID. He's being legally charged with murder because he's in the middle of the room with everybody and he's got the gun or the knife in his hand, but he doesn't want ID. And so they submit his name. That particular PD, for example, would submit his name. That particular loss prevention officer would submit his name. That particular corporate security officer investigating leaked memos would submit his name. Okay, so that's all logged in to ClearView. You have to have a legal reason to arrest someone, okay? That's how it was intended for. This is how it actually is being abused. When, for example, an auditor, a cop watcher, cop blocker, anyone in that industry who is legally entitled to withhold their identification because they're not doing anything illegal, they get their photo taken. Whether it's off dash cam, whether it's off body cam, whether it's off local CCTV, whether it's in a local San Joaquin Valley transparency video I saw, the cop came up to the passenger in the back of the window in the back seat of the car, held up his body cam and said, "You, sir, have a good evening," to the guy that wouldn't ID, and he left. And that was basically that cop taking that photo to submit to ClearView AI to somebody who wasn't breaking the law and had there was no legal reason for them to submit his photo to ClearView AI to their computer. Quick note: their computer basically takes your photo and tries to match it to every single photo on the internet. Well, I shouldn't say every single photo, all the major platforms, Google, Twitter, blah, 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 all the Facebook, all of those. Okay, so what it'll do is it'll search for public photos of you that it can identify and match. I call these data points. Okay, so what happens is, for example, If it comes on a website, for example, Facebook, and it finds 300 photos of you, and there you are with your different makeup, your different whatever, your different looks, your different hairstyles, and it's clearly you, it's linked to you, you're ID'd. If they submit your photo and say you don't even post photos, but you've been in the newspaper once, you were at an accident scene once and photographed and ID'd through a newspaper photo, friends take your ID and tag you in it. They just ID'd you. There's a picture of you and my buddy Dwayne Scriven, and well, there you go. You just ID'd me. Thanks. Okay, so the more pictures that this ClearView AI software collects, I call them, like I say, data points. The more data points it collects, it eventually reaches enough where they have a clear enough picture that it's you, and they've ID'd you illegally. A lot of times they'll take your picture and then afterwards the charges are dropped, or for example, you're released without charges, but they still took your photo. All right, that's illegal because the reason they didn't push you, the reason they weren't crazy to get your ID. Here's another point. I get asked often, well, why are they crazy to get your ID then? They have to get your ID legally. Legally. Barring that, they'll try to get it illegally, and that's through this ClearView AI. But for any legal reason, they have to have it legally. They can't just ID you, for example, through ClearView AI. That's a violation of your constitutional rights, guaranteed. And especially since that now he's taken your photo, they have your ID, and you were charged, or charges were dropped, or whatever. And they'll do this often. They'll charge you for something. Okay, here's the thing. They'll charge you with something, or they'll flat out make up something on the submission form. Let me tell you how it works. Basically, ClearView, once they've got your ID and stuff, then they send that back to whatever department submitted your photo, whatever entity, agency. Let me tell you, there's tons of agencies that use it. I don't have a list on me. I made another another video with a list of some of the corporate and companies that use it. But we're talking about places like Canadian Tire, Walmart, Rite Aid. Where I live, for example, there's actually a lawsuit being held right now against a major mall. They own tons of malls in Canada. They manage and own and run malls. And what they did was they hooked their hooked their CCTV up to their ClearView, and we're submitting hundreds and hundreds and thousands of photos and IDing people walking in that had done no crime at all. And there's a big lawsuit on right now. If you had been in these various malls, the mall that was doing it was Cadillac Fairview, and they were building this database on every single shopper that came through their doors. If you had been in any of these 8 malls or 9 major malls within these certain years, you were ID'd. All right, and they have a database of you. And if you want to get in on that lawsuit, you'd have to do your research and find out what company's handling it, what law firm or whatever. But right, anyway, the FBI uses it, ICE uses it, DEA uses it. Over 600 minor law enforcement agencies across the U.S. use it. Interpol uses it. Anyway, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agencies, corporations, retail, companies, private companies that are using it, Shell, Oil, Exxon, any of these companies that the auditors are out at, the gas companies and stuff, guaranteed, they've ClearView AI'd you. Tons of times I see auditors going, hold your phone like this, as they don't wear a mask, or they're wondering why the police always park their cars pointing towards you so they can get you on dash cam. They can submit and take your photo from any source, dash cam, door cam, security cam, CCTV cam, anywhere. They can get your photo, they can submit it, and you can be ID'd. Okay, here's the big part now. This is the big part you've been waiting for. This is how you beat them. This applies only to people who have not done anything illegal, but have had their photo taken by an agent of the government or anything like that. All right. The main points of its abuse is, like I say, illegal identification, no charges arrested, charges dropped after, and go on your way. This is how you beat them. You get the proof they ID'd illegally, i.e., no arrest, no charges dropped, no photo but a photo was taken. That's on the auditor's cameras. This officer just went with his body cam and went, "You have a great evening," and took the guy's picture. That's pretty clear what they did. FOIA requesting it is fine. Yes, you'll get that photo off that cop's phone. Yes, you'll get the video of the dash cam interaction. Yes, you'll get that. Yes, you'll get. What you won't get is the fact that they've used those photos or a still of that photo to submit to CLEARVIEW AI to ID you. For the most part, if you're not doing anything wrong, that's great. Who cares, right? But I mean, for people when the police abuse that and are submitting people's photos when they have no legal right, that's a problem. I've been asked, well, why would CLEARVIEW AI give you records, the records, like how many times your photo's been submitted? CLEARVIEW AI logs everything, and they log all of these submissions. You have to have a valid reason. So, for example, they can't arrest you for nothing and then submit your photo. You have to be legally arrested. So on whatever form they submit, they say reason for submission, he was caught stealing. The retail side. Corporate would put, we suspect him of being a spy within. He says he's an exchange worker or whatever, but we suspect he's a spy, and they ID him through there. The police, of course, I've explained it, where they abuse it, where they should do it legally, where they've got an illegal arrested person ID'd, but instead what they'll do is they'll, like I say, take a picture of an auditor doing nothing illegal and submit it. Okay, here's how to beat them. The only way you can get CLEARVIEW AI to legally release those submissions, that whatever department you suspect has violated your rights by submitting your photo illegally, find out whether that department paid CLEARVIEW with tax dollars. That makes it public record. That means you can get a judge's order to get CLEARVIEW AI to release it because it's legally public record. That's how you beat CLEARVIEW AI. Again, it only works for the auditors, for people who are doing nothing illegal, cop watching, photographying, that have get harassed and bothered at every single thing, and they're sick of it. You can now sue these departments for not only illegally arresting you, illegally detaining you, illegally roughing you up, stealing your property. You can now sue them and get big money by proving that they took your photo and submitted it to CLEARVIEW and lied on the report. God only knows what they said. Here's another thing. If the police charge you and later release you with no charges, but in the meantime you got booked and you got your photo taken, your prints taken and stuff like that, and they still submitted your photo, you can still get that you can work that out with a lawyer, but basically you basically get them to get a judge's order to sign for a FOIA request because it's public record. Tax dollar. This individual department, for example, Leon Valley, because everyone knows it. Leon Valley ID'd people illegally, and they lied on the forms. Nobody was legally charged. No legal crime was committed, and so they were unconstitutionally ID'd. That's a big problem. That's big money, and that's where you guys sting them. Here's another thing, guys. Please, one last note. Please go after these cops. I know a lot of you auditors, God bless you guys. You guys are amazing. A lot of you auditors are against it morally or ethically, or, well, I don't have the money to, or I don't have the wherewithal, or I don't want to cause a big problem. I just want to make a point or whatever. Hit these cops where they in their pocketbooks. I've been known for a while, for a few years on the YouTube, for making comments about qualified immunity. Strip these guys of their qualified immunity, go after their paychecks, go after their boats, go after their cars, take away a vacation off them. Don't let them get away with this stuff. You guys are the backbone to this whole amendment auditing industry, and you guys, so many people look up to you guys. So many people see what you're doing and see that you're fighting an erosion of constitutional rights. So by all means, God bless you guys. Keep it up. All of you guys, please share this video. This is how you hit these police departments and stop them from illegally identifying you. This pandemic was a boon. By mandating masks, it renders CLEARVIEW AI abuse by these departments useless, because, like I say, they have to have your picture to submit, and it won't work with a mask. So CLEARVIEW AI is useless to them. What they will do, though, is they'll wait till this pandemic's over, and then they'll just go right back to abusing auditors. I know certain auditors do have an aversion to wearing masks and stuff, but if you really want to go out there and you really want to do an audit and stay anonymous, and not just make a point, right, and stay anonymous, then wear a mask. Because every single agency, every cop agency, FBI, all the DEA, they will all ID you if you don't wear a mask. Wear a mask. Even after this pandemic is over, they can't mandate you to not wear a mask. I don't know if you know this, but in a lot of states, previous to the pandemic, it was actually illegal to cover your face and walk around. You couldn't walk around with a mask in certain states, because they'd stop you and demand ID, and why are you walking around with your face covered? After this pandemic is over, there's no legal way they can stop you from wearing a mask. You could say it's for health, and they can't say no, it isn't. It's not for health. They can't say that, because we just went through a pandemic. I'm paranoid. I'm going to always wear a mask when I go out, right? And that's how you beat CLEARVIEW AI if you're an auditor. All right. Whew, that was a big talk. All right. I just want to see if I covered everything. Yeah. Formal request, whether the department played. Yeah, that's it. Department, whether they played with tax dollars. CLEARVIEW AI. Horrible company. They do a good thing, though, in the sense that if they're going after people who are illegally charged, like, say, a terrorist that they've caught, but they charged him with blowing up the bomb. They caught him with the bomb making material, but they don't know who he is. Great. Photograph him, ID him. That's great. He's being legally charged. What you don't do is go around abusing that power by photographing auditors and cop watchers and the like, and screwing around the industry because you can, because you have that ability to submit those photos to that company. Yeah, guys, CLEARVIEW AI. If you're not doing anything wrong and you value your privacy, wear a mask, and it renders it useless. For everyone else, CLEARVIEW AI is your enemy. They'll find you, they'll ID you. There's no getting around it. If you're wanted and you're anywhere in public, they can pull your photo. They can find you. It's getting scary. But anyway, so I'm going to be leaving a lot of comments on any of the auditing or First Amendment or auditing videos that I see, where I see an officer photograph someone, but they released them, no charges. They didn't get ID. They didn't get any sort of resolution. Nothing was breached. There was no trespassing. Nothing happened. I'm going to be watching and leaving a note and pointing a finger towards this video, and hopefully this has explained in a little more detail what CLEARVIEW AI is, what it does legally. They do serve a legal process, and how it is supposed to be used, how it's being abused, and how you can beat it. Again, it's only if you are not doing anything wrong. It's generally for the auditing community. If you are an auditor, God bless you. Keep up the good work. Some great teams out there. Just to name a few that I really admire and respect: News Now Houston, Amagansett Press, and Watching the Watchmen. Guys, you guys are amazing team. Don't ever give up. watching The Watchmen, you are getting really, really good. You got an amazing teacher. News Now Houston, News Now Community, San Joaquin Valley Transparency, amazing referrals. Thank you so much for the referrals, San Joaquin. I've been subjected to so many new channels and so many new great auditors that really bring a whole ton of chutzpah to the industry. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks to all the auditors that make those sacrifices and that actually get arrested and go through the whole rigmarole. I know it's not nice, and as a viewer, we really, really appreciate it. We might not be able to know exactly what you guys go through, all of you, but we really, really appreciate it. Don't ever stop. Keep fighting for our constitutional rights. And remember, you guys, auditors, you guys can beat CLEARVIEW AI and make them pay. Remember, it's a violation of constitutional rights. That department, because it was paid for, they paid for it with taxpayer dollars. I believe you could probably strip that whole department of qualified immunity, at least the intel department, and sue a bunch of people and make a lot of money. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I know not all of you guys are in it for the money. I didn't mean to sound all evil and bad, but I know some of you are. And to be honest, like I say, remember I said it in the beginning, make them pay. Hit them where it hurts. Take a paycheck. Take a vacation away from them. This year they're going to the lake, not to Miami for their vacation. Take their houseboat. Take a jet ski. Take a couple cars. Make them pay. When they abuse your rights, make them pay. Don't just make a point. They don't learn from make a point. They do not learn from make a point. They learn from money. That's the one thing that everybody learns from. Everybody learns that lesson from losing money. Make them lose money. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Check out some of my product reviews. Check out some of my animal videos. Just check out my channel. Thanks a lot. Please leave a like, subscribe if you learned something from this video. And if you're an auditor, share. Well, if you're anyone, share. Please get this news out. How to beat CLEARVIEW AI. See you guys.